I know why this is important to you, but why is it important to all of us to understand what happened 200 million years ago?
Well, so I think if you live like most humans lived, we're a species that's been about 250,000 years old. For the last 200 years, we've had some inkling of the depth of time represented in our earth, in our bones, in our fossils. In the last 50 years, we've really put a metric on it. Now, if you think the earth was invented for us 6,000 years ago, you might not care so much about climate change. When you realize that we are changing and driving extinct species that are the end products of evolution over tens of hundreds of millions of years that will never appear again, or that we're toying with a system that is very finely tuned and balanced, and we have no clue how to get it back or turn it off or whatever. It's a really different view of the earth. It's perhaps even a really different view of humanity and our relationship to the earth. We are dangerously close to a catastrophic end of our world as we know it, and we live with this danger without even thinking about it every day. This is the extreme example of where we have an imminent danger, but it's so not in our face that we just say, well, I'm more worried about a terrorist in the central Sahara coming to my dig site. When in fact, the chance of that is so remote compared to some other danger. But no, it is really important for us, I think, to not only appreciate that danger and the fragility of our environment. The geologists have all gotten together now and said, yeah, there is an Anthropocene, a geologic age that we're going to call, and we're going to put the golden spike here at so many thousand years ago, where any place you go on the face of the planet, to the bottom of the ocean in many cases, or to the top of a mountain, and you take a sensitive instrument, you'll find the footprint of man there, in carbon, in plastic. In some way, you will see our footprint there. We are affecting the history of the world in a way that we've never, it is in our power now. The only species to migrate around the world, to have this power. And it's awe-inspiring, and it should be frightening.
So dinosaurs went extinct. Possibility that we could as well? I mean, does that ever enter your mind?
So there's a little misunderstanding. The 10,000 species of birds are dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are reptiles. This is a evolutionary branch of the tree. They didn't go extinct, but the heavy ones did because the asteroid hit in a carbon-rich environment, et cetera, et cetera. That is the way to look at it. And I think, yeah, they went extinct because we had that particular circumstance. Now, when you say we might go extinct as well, we will go extinct. The only question is when. Why do I say that? Because the billions of species that have come before us, and we can answer this from the fossil record, and there'd be no other way to answer it, have gone extinct. If you do not give rise to new species, your lineage goes extinct. A lot of people think tyrannosaurs have been around forever. Tyrannosaurs were around typically for the last 2 million years on one landmass, Tyrannosaurus rex. It had a relative in Asia, also Tarbosaurus, 2 million years. The fossil record of dinosaurs is 150 million years long. There were species turning over all the time. There's not a single dinosaur that we can point to that lasted 10 million years. There's not a single mammal that we can point to. Not one. That's why we are going to go extinct. But the question is, we're 250,000 years old. Mammal species last a few million years. We'd be lucky if we last that long. But it's not a question of when, it's a question of, when. Life turns over and is alive. It keeps going and changing. And there's no single solution to an environmental problem because the environment never stays the same. This is life. This is what we've come to learn from the fossil record. And if we didn't have a fossil record, we'd never be able to say that.
So we humans will likely not be around forever, but are we alone, or is there intelligent life somewhere else in our vast universe?
When we began to understand, as Carl Sagan would say, this little tiny pale blue dot in the vastness of time and space, and the ripples that we're sending out in terms of we are here, radio communications and so on. How come we haven't heard from anybody else? How come we haven't been visited by anybody else? His question was, where is everybody? That's an anthropocentric, potentially anthropocentric way of asking, how about where is intelligent life? Is it out there, or are we really alone? And so one of the things that I think people haven't brought enough to this question is the fossil record. Because we have to understand how life evolves. Life might be common in the universe when given billions of exoplanets, some of them habitable. But would it create something like us if you ran the tape of life again? So paleontology is an important element of this. But exoplanet research and the brain, intelligence, how it arises, is it inevitable, was also important. This is about who we are. It's about the significance of where we stand in time. It's about the meaning of humanity. It's about some of the biggest questions we ask ourselves.
Along with prehistoric animals, Paul has also discovered human remains buried about 7,500 years ago.
I'm always struck with the fact that we come and go, that, we're born, we die, but so many years pass, and you look at these teeth, it's just amazing what survives, isn't it? I mean, do you still marvel at that?
Yeah, no, it's remarkable. But this burial is special for what it preserves in another dimension, behavior. The concept of afterlife, the concept of a loving family, that they would preserve that for the afterlife, the way they commingled the hands, one arm reaching the beauty of the face. It is so rare to get behavior like this in the fossil record, the inclusions in the burial and so on. And that's what makes this burial unbelievably special. I mean, clearly there's a story they're trying to tell from 7,500 years ago.
And this is a story that's so complex, as you said, the interweaving. It's a story of love. I mean, and that's the story they left for us.
It's a story of love and caring. We know they put flowers down. We know they gave them unshot arrowheads for the afterlife. And no one has seen anything like this, the intermingling of hands like this. The woman's hands are crossed, reaching a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old. And from their teeth, a day-by-day record of their health to the last. We know how many days old these two individuals are. We know from their teeth they're related, they're siblings. We think they're related to this woman as son and daughter to mother. We can't prove that, but we feel that the loving relationship here suggests that. I mean, it was a tearjerker to realize what we were seeing for the first time.
Professor Sereno has spent his career digging up and studying our ancient lost worlds. In the end, he hopes his work has meaning for generations to come.
So when people remember you, because we're all going to leave this world, how do you want them to remember you?
Well, I think, a lot of people think that, I've dug up dozens of dinosaurs and super crocs and now ancient humans and so on. And certainly those aspects will be remembered because, as one of my professors said, when I was learning paleontology at the Great American Museum in New York, don't just take fruit off the tree. Put some fruit back on the tree. Go out and discover things, young man, and never come back the same way you go anywhere. There's a great advice by one of the paleontologists in my career. But I hope to be known for two other things. Big ideas, and I have a handful of them that I want to get out and sometimes put names on. These are big theoretical ideas. And also, putting together the public aspect of what I do in different ways than have ever been done. I'm trying to do a public outreach in a neighborhood. I'm trying to show how science and how even a destination-like place could be created by a scientist and help revitalize a neighborhood. Science is not looked at as a positive force that way. I want to create a movement in this neighborhood, a nucleus in this neighborhood around STEM education, a cool place for kids to be, an electronic connection for a library, a combination of conservatory and dinosaurs that has never been seen before. 5 different things. In many ways, the way the Exploratorium, what that place in San Francisco did for science and hands-on maker spacism and stuff that has transformed science museums. I want this to show how a university and its faculty and students in particular could engage a neighborhood in a way that sends it along its way in a new way, positive way. So I hope to be remembered for things like that. I hope to be remembered for a person, a scientist, who took the gifts that the nomads of the Sahara gave me year after year after year. They showed me how to survive. They pointed me in the right direction. They gave me water. They gave me the eyes of the desert to make all those discoveries, 100 tons of discoveries. And I, in turn, give them the Cultural Museum that they have never had in their history. That's what I want to be remembered for, et cetera. So there's a lot to do, not enough time.
We'll let you get back to work. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.